Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Watch What Crappens ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Well, hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens. This is part 2 of a 2-part recap. If you're like, hey, wait a minute, I didn't hear part 1. Guys, it's because we put out a lot of recaps. Go back and listen to part 1, okay? It's before this one.
So they're doing, Hudson's practicing some shots, and Madison asks Brett how he's feeling, and he's like doing okay. It's just like he has to think about his swallowing and needs some medication and adjustments. And now there's a spot on his kidney and he needs a biopsy, and it's rough. I feel really bad for Madison because that was really tough to hear, but also because she's also shocked because this is her first time hearing it. So she's like, well, why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, I didn't want to worry you. And also, you're really scary. I don't want to say anything.
And he's saying, but that's how I am. I don't talk about things. And she's like, well, you got to with me. And he's like, no. She's like, yeah, but you'll tell me next time, right? I mean, next time if you get a cancerous spot somewhere, will you tell me? He's like, yes, say yes. Okay. Like, great communication over there, guys. That's worrisome. I love that you won't. I mean, I get his not wanting to worry somebody until he knows, but yeah, you got to tell your wife.
Yeah, you got it. It's really scary. Although it's kind of funny how he's like, me, I just don't talk about things. You know how I don't talk about things. It's like,
that's just the thing. They don't communicate. He's gone half the time, and then he gets really jealous, assuming that she's hooking up with Austen on trips. There's some worrisome stuff here.
Yeah.
There's some red flags here. So then we go back it's just that this red flag is really hot and has a great job. So nobody really wants to point it out, but there's some red flags. It's not good.
Yeah. So now we're over at Patricia's house, and Patricia's like, is Ranvi downstairs? Yes, mother. Ranvi's here. Okay, great.
Doesn't Ranvi sound like a shortened? I'm sorry, Ben. What were you saying?
I just said keep Randy away from her. Last time Randy got too close, start humping her leg. Do we have the shot collar?
Oh, doesn't Ranvi sound like a shortened prescription drug name?
Yes.
Did you take Randy?
I'm not letting plaque psoriasis stop me one more day. Renvy may also cause a rash, which is sort of funny considering it's for plaque psoriasis. But, at least it's not plaque psoriasis. Know what I'm saying? Renvy.
Whitney. Yes, mother. So Renvy comes in. And she's a new lady. It's Renvy. Hi, Renvy. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Here she is. It's Renvy.
She's wearing this this hot pink thing. She looks great. She's got Joan Rivers hair. She sort of has Cheryl Hines' face. And we've never seen her before, but she is obviously made it to the top of the pecking order because she gets to be the lady who comes to Patricia's birthday party. So great job, Renvy.
And I like this friendship because she just comes in and Patricia says, well, hello, sweetie. And she goes, oh, hello. And then they don't kiss or hug or anything. And I was like, oh, yes, I love this icy yes. Frenemy shit.
Well, it's hard for me to gush about my birthday because birthdays seem so silly for adults. Birthdays are for children, but it's an excuse to get together with friends and go to a good restaurant and talk about how sad Renvy's life is and have fun, things like that.
One of the things we always like to say is nobody envy Renvy.
Poor Renvy's just like, this is going to be fun. It's going to be great. So then they go to a restaurant.
It's called Lowland. It's just ironic. We just bring Renvy here to remind her where she's from.
That sometimes we say, Randy, you need to go to a man lowland and maybe one day you'll be flooded with all sorts of romantic prospects. But unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet for her. Bless her heart.
Hey, do you have a sister restaurant called Lowerland that we can get Envy some ass at? Getting desperate over here.
More like Slowland. Poor Randy.
So Austen comes, and Eddie and Ryan, the new gays, who still are not justifying that spot that Ryan is getting in the opening credits and poster. Why is he on the poster? He has had 2 lines in this whole episode. I need more from you, gay. All right?
Yeah. Even Eddie had more lines than Ryan did. And Eddie's not even on the poster.
Yeah.
So they show up. Madison comes in wearing some kind of funky outfit, and she goes, "Hello, I end up wanting to look at how did I end up still looking like the slutty one, betas?"
And so I get emotional just thinking about the impact Patricia's had on me. I mean, she's like a second lover to me. Second lover? Is that what I said? She's like a second mother to me.
Sure
I don't know why I said that. What the hell is wrong with you, Rondell?
Was 2 more than Renvy's had. So then,
Do you remember Ranvi? No, neither does anybody else. She's actually a regular here. The waiter just came and poured a cup of water into her. I said, "That's not a water glass."
now before we get started, I invited everyone to balance a potted plant on Renvy's head, because she's basically a table at this point.
Sorry, Renvi, it's not your shape, it's your personality.
Now listen, Randy, if you want to dress like a slut, look at Madison, but I guess it still wouldn't work for you no matter how skimpy you wear. Dress your clothes. I'm drunk, by the way. Had a lot of martinis back at my house. Everyone just go slap Randy.
So Madison's like, Patricia has made me, she has tried to bring me into the most ladylike woman I could ever dream of being, and she makes it feel like it's possible. Hadn't happened, but it could. It could.
Well, I think the I have to make a confession. Ding, ding, ding. I've been lying this whole time about my age. I'm really 108. Hold for laughter. All right.
Ranvi, I didn't hear you laughing much, but then again, I guess no one really hears Ranvi when she talks. Ranvi, speak up. She's like, okay, Ranvi, never mind.
That laughter wasn't loud enough. Ranvi, walk around in your underwear.
Okay, everyone. Ranvi has requested that she gets to sing a verse from my favorite things. Go ahead, Ranvi. Raindrops on. Okay, that's enough.
Hey, one of nobody's favorite things, Renvi. Am I right?
That's why she sings it. She hopes she winds up on someone's lip. But guess what? You're still not as attractive as something wrapped in brown paper bag, apparently. Tied up.
Well, I think a dermatologist is your best friend, and also the dentist. I go every 3 months. If you don't take care of your teeth, that makes you look old.
Anyway, Ranvi hasn't been to the dentist in about 13 years, so point taken. Anyway, that's the news.
I took Ranvi to the dentist one time for a checkup with my doctor, and he said we don't put teeth into tree stumps.
I said the upside is people may think you're wise. So Shep is like, oh, well, whatever you're doing, keep doing that. Martinis are the key. Ha, 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 ha. As in throw them at Ranvi. It keeps you young.
Guys, ding, ding, ding. Just wanted to say, Mom, thanks for being rich. Hilarious.
Thanks, honey. So, he's like, I'd like to tell a story about Mother.
One time, she sent me to a progressive high school in Washington, D.C., and me and my friends, we were the hooligans of the school, and they called their parents in one time, probably for doing something awful to a woman. Let's face it. Look at my track record. And my mom showed up an hour late. She listened for about 5 minutes, and then she stood up and said, well, boys will be boys. See you later. I was like, wow, she has not changed one fucking bit. That's literally still her role on this show.
Did like one ladies dinner in like 2020 or like not even, it was like not 2019 after like Me Too. And she's like, all right, back to the boys. Boys will be boys. They'll break your chairs. That's what they do.
You know what? I have a new movement. It's called Me Neither.
Poor Renvy's movement is not her. So sad. So, so Whitney's like, I mean, how could you not love her? She's very ostentatious. She's glamorous. Doesn't suffer fools lightly. Somehow tolerates Renvy. She's the best. I love her.
So now the food comes out, and the lady's like, "This is delicious. This is some chicken with some what'd she say? Some salsa verde. Y'all enjoy that." And Chef's like, "Whoa, this is a real thing. Wow, gosh, can I have some garshi verde? This is nuts."
I doubt protest too much for this salsa verde. It looked.
And when you were saying before how the only reason the guys have manners is because Patricia's here, and God, Patricia shows up and they show all these manners. Well, this scene proves that theory wrong. Not a one of these guys closes their mouth. I mean, the gays do.
But I have to say, this next time we go to Charleston, I am going to Lowlands because this food looked amazing. That chicken with the salsa verde looked amazing, and then they served Cheryl Day biscuits. Cheryl Day, she's like, all her food is just made with like 10 sticks of butter, and it's all amazing. I'm like salivating just thinking about this. This little
it looked like some damn good food, that's for sure.
So then Renvy, did you catch this when Renvy was like, "Well, Austen, you look quite sharp, but of course you're good looking, so of course you look sharp."
Whoa, keep it in your pants, Renvy.
Or as I like to call it, the dusty cavern that is your pants.
The second you open up that cave, bats aren't going to stop flying out for a week, Renvy. Just keep it closed.
I mean, I'm surprised Jack Nicholson isn't there busting through walls saying, "Here's Johnny." I mean, no one's in there.
It's interesting, the last time we were here, there was you and what was that child you're dating again, Austen? And he's like, "Audrey." Yeah. He goes, "We had so much fun. I went home wearing half your chicken dish on my face, but it wasn't the worst night ever."
Yeah, I think that she's charming and attractive, and quite frankly, I think you need someone who's not a drama queen who shows up looking like a slut at someone's birthday party, which is for children, by the way.
And Madison just tilts her head like, "Is this bitch really just talking about me?" And then she's just like, "Well, okay, that's true. Yeah, it's true."
And Austin's like, "Well, I used to think like I needed someone who would like hold my feet to the fire, but I think it's actually quite the opposite. I need someone who lets me get away with all the shit in the world. It's that simple."
Pretty much. I need to be able to do whatever the fuck I want and have someone childish and desperate enough to be on TV that she'll let me do it.
Yep, that's great. This is the path that men take.
A lot of growth.
When he's like, "Oh, are you insinuating that Madison's a drama queen?" Mother, did you hear that, mother? And Austin's like,
sorry, go ahead, Ben.
"Well, no, I would prefer you to speak, Miss Pat."
No.
He's like, "Well, she's more of a drama queen than Audrey." And she goes,
"Yeah, I guess that's true. So I guess you just found yourself a brat, huh? Except, with that gorgeous face, gorgeous body, who's not a father to your child, and who isn't rich." But, close.
And he's like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." So then they ask where this guy is, where Brett is. And she's like,
"Well, he's just having so much fun not being here with all of us. He's just, he's having a lot of FOMO not being here with us. It's what it is."
And she has to like take a moment. She's like, "I'm not going to bring him around here because I don't want him to spill what's going on with his health. And then, these people will make it all about that, basically."
Yeah. So Eddie's like, "Okay, I'll get the ball rolling. Where's Craig?" And Pat's like, "Well, I thought he was in Sonoma." Which is also what I call Renvy's love life. Sonoma man. But apparently he came back today.
And Ryan says Craig is at Kroger, and they all crack up like it was just some diss. But I think Ryan was like, "Craig's in fucking grocery stores. Like, what does he care what you losers think about him?" That's how I took it. How'd you take it?
I took it like, no, he's here and he's at Kroger buying his groceries for dinner while we're here having this amazing meal.
Oh. Okay. I thought, oh, wow, that was nice. Okay, so Austen's like, yeah, I talked to Craig, and he was like, what are you doing later? And I was like, oh my God, this is so awkward. It's so crazy. It's like nuts right now. But like, I'm going to dinner. And he was like, who with who? And I was like, well, a bunch of us. And he was like, what? Where you been quiet? And I was like, well, it's Pat's birthday. And this is so this cast to just make Craig feel like shit on purpose, just so they could have a storyline of Craig feeling like shit.
Well, all Austen had to say is, all he had to say is, oh, I'm going out. What are you doing later? He's like, I'm going out to dinner with Patricia. That's all he has to say. But instead, but the moment you say this is so awkward, you're saying that Craig should feel awkward because he's being intentionally excluded, which he is. But still, like you're making it worse when you say that. Just say, oh yeah, I'm going out to dinner with Patricia. And if Craig is like, well, why wasn't I invited? I'd be like, I don't know, take it up with Patricia. Don't make, just you keep it matter of fact. But yeah, they are basically punishing Craig.
Yeah, and Shep's like, I don't think it's a big deal that Craig's not here. I mean, gosh, if Craig thinks it's a big deal, then maybe he should make more of an effort. Weren't you the one who just got dumped by the entire cast last season because you were such an asshole and such a disgusting pig in Vegas for like the 10th time that they couldn't even stand to be around you? What are you talking about? He needs to make more of an effort. Fuck off. And Whitney's just sitting there smiling like,
yeah,
they're dicks. These guys are such assholes.
But to be fair, Craig did break Patricia's chair. So she's like, never again.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
This episode is sponsored by Acorns.
Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has the chance to grow for you, your kids, and your retirement.
You know, Acorns makes it so easy, and in the new year, that's what I need.
Did you know, Ronnie, that save more money was actually the most popular New Year's resolution in America last year? So yeah, Acorns is here to help.
You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can start with $5 or even just your spare change.
And you don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals.
Create your Acorns account and start investing in just 5 minutes.
Head to acorns.com/crappens or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today.
Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided.
Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/crappens.
They say Hollywood is where dreams are made, a seductive city where many flock to get rich, be adored, and capture America's heart. But when the spotlight turns off, fame, fortune, and lives can disappear in an instant. When TV producer Roy Radin was found dead in a canyon near LA in 1983, there were many questions surrounding his death. The last person seen with him was Lainey Jacobs, a seductive cocaine dealer who desperately wanted to be part of the Hollywood elite. Together, they were trying to break into the movie industry. But things took a dark turn when $1 million worth of cocaine and cash went missing. From Wondery comes a new season of the hit show Hollywood and Crime, The Cotton Club Murder. Follow Hollywood and Crime, The Cotton Club Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of The Cotton Club Murder early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Hello, ladies and germs, boys and girls. The Grinch is back again to ruin your Christmas season with Tis the Grinch Holiday Podcast. After last year, he's learned a thing or two about hosting, and he's ready to rant against Christmas cheer and roast his celebrity guests like chestnuts on an open fire. You can listen with the whole family as guest stars like John Hamm, Brittany Broski, and Danny DeVito try to persuade the mean old Grinch that there's a lot to love about the insufferable holiday season. But that's not all. Somebody stole all the children of Whoville's letters to Santa, and everybody thinks the Grinch is responsible. It's a real Whoville whodunit. Can Cindy Lou and Max help clear the Grinch's name? Grab your hot cocoa and cozy slippers to find out. Follow Tis the Grinch Holiday Podcast on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Unlock weekly Christmas mystery bonus content and listen to every episode ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
Weedy and I were just talking about that. When was the last time we saw Craig? Oh, well, he came over Easter, and prior to that, not for like 6 or 7 months. And I don't know, we don't like talk or text. Yeah, well, how often do you see him, Austin? He's like, well, when we podcast, which is basically twice a week, and it's turned into business more than a friendship like it used to be.
Could you imagine if I said that about you? That's crazy. Oh yeah, I really only talk to him like the 8 times a week that we do a show together. I mean, other than that, it's like half my life. That's more than I've ever talked to anybody litterally in my life. I can't imagine degrading it to be like, oh, we're not even friends. It's just only business.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they are. It's so funny. They're just not. They're not going to give Craig his moment. But to be fair, Craig is also very much about declaring that he's having his moment right now. So I can also imagine that being really exhausting.
I can, but they just keep shitting on him for things that should be impressive. Like they should be things you should be proud of your friends for. But Pat's like,
well, he's trying to be Martha Stewart.
Well, God forbid you're talking to a table of people who don't do jack shit. Like
nothing.
God forbid one of them tries to make something of themselves and is actually in a decent relationship for a few years in a row, which neither of these has accomplished either, including your child. And you guys are sitting here dissing him like he's the biggest loser at the table. These other guys are the ones here like fucking getting free dinner off some lady, you know?
Yes.
Their friend's mom still and their fucking 40s. Give me a break, man.
Shep is like, gosh, this isn't a knock on Craig because it's very smart of Craig, but he is kind of like just a figurehead. It's not like he's at the warehouse with a hard hat on. Jerry does literally everything for him. And we see flashbacks of Jerry doing everything. And Shep is like, it's just like, Craig, show up here, throw a pillow up in the sky, and write a caption. He doesn't even write his own captions. That's because he doesn't, the fact that he can do this and that he doesn't have to do that stuff is even more impressive. That the fact that he has someone doing this for him and he gets to just take in all the money. Hello.
What CEO is there in a hard hat? I mean, look, it's crazy because I think you're correct that it can get annoying. Craig can get annoying with this whole like, oh, I think about his business. Like he does have annoying parts, but the fact that they're using all of this stuff that he's accomplished is a bad thing. Like, look at Craig. He's just a figurehead selling pillows all the time and making money. You guys sound so fucking pathetic. What have you ever done that's been successful, Shep? Name it. Name it.
Yeah.
Name them.
That definitely wasn't relationship. So then Whitney is like, I mean, why do you think he's like trying to insulate himself? Like, curate his new image? Is this like better for his business? Literally, yes. Literally, he's selling stuff on the internet and killing it. And you're like, wow, why is he not out there being problematic and being a monster and like lying all the time?
It's crazy to these guys.
No one wants to support.
It's crazy to these guys that anybody would like enter their 40s by not being wasted and fucking 20-year-olds from bars on King Street that they're using their like D-list celebrity to get. Like they're like, what? Why isn't he still doing coke and fucking randos every night? What a loser.
Gosh, what's the point of getting success if you don't enjoy with people you're friends with? Because the people he's friends with are like begrudging his success and are always trying to tear him down. Have you not seen seasons 1 through 9 of your show?
Yeah, you literally just tore him down all last season for being his friend. And then you got so bad in Vegas that he had to put distance between you. Why are you making it sound like it's somebody else's fault? What a loser. And when he's like, I prefer old Craig. He was far more interesting when he was drinking bourbon. Listen, I'm sure you're more interesting when I'm drinking bourbon, but that's not a cool thing to say about somebody else. Look, I'm fucking idiot.
Madison's like, I mean, he is improving himself. It's not like he's doing anything bad. She's like, are you knuckleheads? Listen to yourself. He's like, well, you can improve yourself. Just doesn't mean you have to be boring.
You literally do nothing but shoot scenes with your mother, you fucking weirdo. What have you ever done interesting on this show except fuck teenagers that you can later cast for 5 minutes of fame? You're fucking weirdo.
You're so boring. You were demoted to friend of on your own show. So then Madison's like, well, maybe he can't be himself or who he is right now around y'all. He's like, well, what happened to the goofball self-deprecating Craig? That guy is gone. When he was the goofball self-deprecating Craig, you guys shat on him. Do you not remember going to Delaware to his home and ridiculing him to his face in front of his family the entire time?
Yeah.
They just want someone they can punch down on, you know?
Yeah, and so Shep, and by the way, that guy is gone because you were a shitty friend, Shep. You didn't leave him. It's not like he just disappeared. He left you because you're a fucking disgusting, assaulting drunk. Okay. So Shep's like, well, the people just like who's Craig and sewing down south because of his old fallible self. But the current Craig is always hawking product. And it's because, and of course it's the woman's fault because Paige is a shrewd businesswoman. So she ruined Craig. She made Craig healthy and happy and successful. Fuck her. Whatever happened to witch hunts?
I know. Yeah, she's a pretty shrewd businesswoman. And they said to themselves, we have to be professionals and do this the right way. Well, God forbid you do something professional in the right way. Like, why is Shep is literally arguing like, you know what? People wanted to buy pillows because they love Craig's his old fallible self. Yes. Every time Craig would lie and do Adderall and show up like cracked out on reunion, I thought, I want to buy a pillow from him. No, this is, it's like he's saying this stuff like it's a bad thing. Like it's bad that Craig met someone who has her shit together and he wants to level up his own life so that way he can be a better boyfriend to her. And he's like, oh gosh, God, I think it's the most important thing is just to be honest and human. And as long as you're those things, your image should take care of itself. I'm like,
says the least honest and least human Are you saying this after you've lied for seasons and cheated on everybody you've ever been with, consistently lied, and then threw cans at a homeless woman and told her, I like your cans? That's your human nature? Lady? You fuck.
I don't think Shep is one to talk about image so well. It's not his strong point.
Or honesty or humanity. What the fuck is this person even talking about?
So then Austen tries to puff up and he's like, well, I think it's rather interesting that other people feel this way. I didn't realize, I suppose, that his absence has been noticeable for other people. Hold on. I'm like, okay, relax, sir. You can put your ascot away.
Like you haven't been talking about this nonstop with everybody else on the cast. Yeah. So then we go see Molly making her bed, and I think that's all we see of Molly.
That's all we see. We don't even see her face. We just see her back making her bed, and then we see Vanita putting down pillows for Charles, and then she sweeps, and that's it for Vanita.
It's so weird sometimes.
And then Shep is driving, so he calls up Austen, and he's like, "Gosh, I was just at the gym and Craig walks in and he's all grumpy. And I was like, what are you doing today? And he's like, Austin's coming over and he's going to tell me all the shit that everybody's been talking about me. So Austin's like, oh God, I'm going to a fucking hornet's nest. It's insane right now.
And he's like, don't say anything to him about last night. I mean, listen, we had dinner. I mean, listen, it's got to be Madison that got him agitated, right? And he's like, yeah, it's certainly not my intention of going there today and saying, then he said this, and then he said this, and then she said this. It's like my own things I want to say. What are you so worried about?
We're gonna go. And we know you were going to go there to say, he said this and she said this and he said this, because that's all you do. The three of you, the biggest gossips on the show are these three guys.
Yeah. So he does. He goes over there, and Craig's, doing his garden, which does look amazing. His backyard does look amazing.
He does.
Austen comes in. It's kind of awkward. And it's like, basically, I just wanted to come by because it was just fucking awkward without you there last night. So,
well, it felt weird. Oh, God. I wanted to go swimming, but now I'm all wet. It feels weird not being invited. I don't get my feelings hurt too often. I'm like, you literally get your feelings hurt every episode, but that's fine. Did Patricia say I wasn't invited? Why I wasn't invited, I mean?
Well, it's a combination of thinking you were out of town and also saying that she hadn't talked to Craig much, and then the conversation switched to your absence.
And he's like,
wait, so you talked about my absence at a birthday party I wasn't invited to? That's crazy. Like, if you want to see me more, you have to invite me to your birthday dinner. So...
yeah, well, no, your absence when you are in town is what the conversation switched to, Craig. He's like, well, this is where I'm at. Am I missing something? I'm in my house. So believe it or not, after that entire scene where I was really very much team Craig over everything that everyone at the table was saying about him, I have to say, in this scene, I start to pivot a little bit. I cannot even believe the words are coming out of my mouth. I'm a little team Austen in this scene, because I think ultimately in this scene, Austen is like, and he says it right here, I miss my buddy. I mean, that's where I'm coming to you from. We talk and we do this, but I'm going to lunch and you're just like not on my call list. I don't think to call you anymore. If I'm going to get a beer, you're not on my phone list because your answer is normally like, oh, I'm gardening or something like that. And Craig is like, well, when was the last time you invited me to lunch? And he's like, well, that's what I'm always saying, Craig, because it's always, he's like, but that's a you thing. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know know this shit was going on. I thought we were good. Why don't we set up a weekly tea time?
But look, here's my thing. As somebody who started drinking a lot less recently, you know, I still drink. I still have my moments. I'm not totally sober, but I cleaned up my life a lot in the past year or two. And it's led to weirdness sometimes. Like my friends don't really know how to deal with it. They didn't know at first how to deal with it. They know better now. But at first they didn't know, and I didn't really know either, because frankly, if I'm not drinking and getting wasted with everybody, I don't want to go sit at a bar with them all night. And some people, you're like, that's all we do. We go sit at a bar all night. We get shit faced. We do drugs, whatever. And if I'm not doing that anymore, then why do I want to be there? You don't want to be around a bunch of, and it was hard to find other things to do, you know, or just be like, now we're just having dinner, not being shit faced. It's 7. Is that okay with you? You know, and we had to get to a place where as an adult, you just have to do that. I can't be wasted every fucking night. I'm sorry. I can be wasted some nights, but I just can't do it anymore every night. And it's hard to get through that. But like a bunch of 40-year-olds literally sitting around like, you won't get wasted with me, so now we can't hang out and be friends, and now you're not going to be invited anywhere. Grow the fuck up. I mean, you children, that's why everybody around them gets younger and younger as they get older and grosser and crustier, you know?
Yeah.
They're just surrounded by all these stupid influencer girls who need, you know, likes.
Well, I agree that like Craig is in a much better place. He's cleaned up. What he used to enjoy for fun is no longer the same thing. But I think also Craig can't be mad at this. You can't be like, oh, I wasn't invited, but then you can't move on and find a new group and then get mad at people that you weren't included in the old thing. You know, it's like
it's a show that they're the 3 male leads on, and and Patricia is with Whitney, so they're obviously purposely excluding Craig to be dicks. I mean, this is their show. For them to not invite Craig to Patricia's dinner with all the insider cast members there is a horrible dickish move. That's not cool. That's like a blatant "we're trying to push you out of this show" kind of a move. Just because you got your shit together. So,
but also, you know, I can see that Craig is clearly like not making himself not available, probably for good reason, for very good reason, but he's not making himself available. And then he's surprised that people are like, well, I guess we're going to start moving on without Craig because he doesn't want to hang out. And then Craig gets upset. And I'm like, you kind of can't have it both ways. And so here comes a guy.
He was just with them. He was with them 3 days ago. They showed the scene in this episode where he was just at lunch with them. Then they showed him just at the gym with them. I mean, he is with them. They're full of shit.
Right. I mean, but I still think that if you have someone coming to you, like whether it's coming from, I think that if Austen is feeling like he's missing his friend, like he wants to spend time with his friend, and then the friend is like, well, I'm here, you can make plans with me. But then it's like, what? Every time I try to make plans with you, you basically are like, no, I don't want to do that. Or like, and he starts to say this thing right now, which is that like we had a plan to play golf, and then the night before you're like, oh no, I'm gonna garden instead. It's like, that's shitty. I'm sorry. I think that Craig has every right to find healthier friends and healthier activities, and Austen and Shep do undermine, but like Craig I think Craig is really painting himself here like he's really innocent. Like what? Like, but no, Craig contributes to this toxic situation too with these friends.
Well, I think if it was like, from how I'm looking at it, if it was Austen just saying, hey, Craig, here's how I feel about our friendship, that's one thing. But this is about Craig not being invited to Patricia's birthday party, which is a totally different thing. And Austen's making this like, well, you don't come golfing with me. It's like, well, why am I being kicked out of this inner circle? Basically what happened last season is Austen and Craig were like, fuck Shep. He can't treat everybody like this anymore. It's to the point where he's literally assaulting people in public. He's making us all look terrible. We both have businesses that we want to protect. They totally turned on him at the reunion and were like, no, Shep, you can't act like this anymore. We're making a stand against you. And now Shep has turned it around with Whitney and Patricia, apparently, as their witting accomplices, who are making it now that this is all Craig's fault. The reason they weren't hanging out with Shep was Shep's being a fucking drunk, assaulting alcoholic part. That was his fault. But now this season, they're making it sound like, oh, Craig's the one that's been. No, Austen, you were not hanging out with Shep until last week or whenever you started shooting the show again. Because they even had that conversation at the beginning of this where Shep's like, I want us to get back. No one hangs out with me anymore. And he's like, okay, we'll be friends again. So then they kind of forgave him. But now Shep has somehow managed to turn this into, it's all Craig's fault for being better, thinking he's better than us. When Shep is the fucking one who got cut off for being a drunk who keeps assaulting people every time they're in public. It's making me crazy.
But I think that
it's not that Craig is innocent.
Clear-cut.
It's just that Shep and Whitney are such pieces of shit. That's what's
I mean, I think they've turned that part around, but I do think in terms of like around on Craig, but I also have to imagine like, yes, Craig is doing healthier things for himself, but I also imagine Craig is being much more annoying to be friends with. It's like everything has to be at his house. Everything, it's like got to be on his schedule, and like he's not going to return. And so he's making these healthy boundaries, which was probably better for him. But like on the other side of that healthy boundary is like it's like an annoying thing to have to deal with it. And it's like, it feels like he's probably not checking in with them because it's part of his boundaries. And people are probably like frustrated and hurt. And I think that like Craig just sort of, you either make that boundary, and then when people say like, hey, we're going to do something without you, you just be like, that's fine. I made a healthy boundary. I get it. Our friendships are going in different directions. Or you make an effort with people still, but like, you just can't have it both ways. And it was just a very strange thing for me to watch the scene and actually have weird empathy for Austen, because I've never really done that before. And it was weird, I guess, because Austen was really coming from a place of like, I miss you. And Craig was coming from a place of like he basically coming up, he's like, Austen just misses his drinking buddy. I'm like, yeah, but isn't that actually a big deal? It might not be the healthy thing for Craig, but to be like, oh, Austen just misses his friend. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly correct. And that's like not nothing.
Well, I think that's an interesting argument. I could never ever feel sorry for Austen, and I get what Craig is saying. I don't like it. He just misses me being I think there's something also like he only likes me because I'm wasted with him. Which I guess I sympathize with that, because that's happened to me, where it's like, you don't like me unless I'm drunk ass Ronnie with you, encouraging you to be drunk ass whatever, whoever, you know? And if not, it's like I'm worthless. Like I'm still sitting here and able to have a conversation. And Craig's like, I tell you to come over all the time. You guys don't want to do that. You want to go bang 20-year-olds on fucking King Street, you know? You don't want to do this. So go do what you want to do. It's not like I don't want to be your friends. I just don't want to be wasted in a bar with you. And I'm worth more than just being some wasted guy in a bar to prop you up. You know what I mean? So I guess that's kind of how I'm taking what Craig says. Now, that said, obviously Craig's fucking annoying. And I see what you're saying, you know, because Craig is annoying. And when they do that golf thing and he's cutting to the picture or cutting to the video of him like, well, here's how we're doing gardening. He doesn't even know anything about any of this stuff. Like when he was trying to pretend he was a food connoisseur a couple weeks ago and couldn't even open the fucking wine bottle. You know? And also don't forget, like, on the flip side, and I'm not really trying to take Whitney's side at the very least, but you also have someone here who is on the show who's not willing to do anything unless it's like you have to go over to his house. He doesn't want to hang out, and then all of a sudden, like, but is happy to use the show to promote his business. So, like, I can see why there's frustration. Craig hanging out with everybody all the time. I'm confused. Like, what's Craig not been at?
It seems like when they were not shooting. I think that's what this stems from. Like when they were not shooting, Craig is just
Whitney doesn't even live there when they're not shooting. Whitney lives in California. Shep isn't ever there. Shep's constantly traveling. Shep's never in town. I mean, I think the only one who's there is Craig and Austen, and I think they do hang out. That's why I'm so confused by this whole.
Yeah, it's weird, but I have to say friendship breakups always make the most compelling TV, like more so than relationship breakups, because friendship breakups are very nuanced and they're complicated and there's a lot of gray areas and there's always good cases to be made on both sides. And I am totally into this situation that's happening with Craig and Austen, because I find it to be very fascinating. I think all your points that you've made have been like 100% valid. I also think the points that I've made are 100% valid. And that's what makes these things interesting, because like, it's not just like their fault. There's always like stuff happening that contributes to this total mess.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like they're coming after Craig constantly. They come after him every year for like being, first of all, they're coming at him for being a fucking loser and a compulsive liar, and he can't keep a job and he's never going to have a career. Then they're making fun of him for his sewing and being a loser with that, and always staying home and just working on his stupid sewing and getting a stupid house that's ugly and it's never clean. He never does the work on his house. Then he gets his shit together and does get in a good relationship with a girl that they consider much better because they all hated Naomi. So then he gets in a better relationship and someone that they would all kind of respect, and he does get his shit together and they still hate him. It's like the guy never wins. Every season he's their fucking punching bag, and meanwhile they're both losers. Austen and Shep, they're both fucking losers.
Well, that's
live
why
off
they
their
need to
parents
have
and don't
Craig.
do anything, and then they kick Craig every single time he's down. It's just like Craig has his faults, but I'm not going to listen to it from those two jackasses, especially
like
assaulter
Craig-
Shep and loser fucking cheater Austen. I don't feel shit for those two.
Yeah, but then at the same time, Craig is like, well, he finally realizes his worth, that he doesn't need to be the punching bag for these guys, because this is totally true. They are crabs in a bucket trying to drag him down. So I'm like, you realize your worth, so then why are you then move on? Why are you getting upset?
But why should he quit? Well,
this?
because why should he just be okay, being pushed off the show because these losers have decided that he's going to be put, it's just not fair for them to one day decide, okay, you're not going to kiss our ass and you don't get to come to a main filming event.
If you don't want to hang out with the guys on the show, though, then that's also why is that okay too? If you're on the show,
he is hanging out with the guys on the show. He hasn't been refusing to hang out with the guys on the show. This was like Patricia's event. This was like Patricia having her guys' night and not inviting one of the lead cast members and then bringing the replacement gays on instead. That's just that's just some.
I think there's
down.
more going on behind the scenes. I think it's more than there must have been something leading up to this season. There's something where, maybe it's just jealousy. Maybe they're just maybe.
I think they're saying what it is, don't you? They're saying flat out what it is, which is he's annoying now that he's successful. And we know that Craig is annoying. You see it, and it's the thing that I keep bringing up, which is the winter house. I'm rich now. I don't have to clean. I think that's probably the attitude that they're talking about, where he is so big in his own mind that he's just fucking obnoxious. And now it's all about his influencing and his, I can see how that stuff would be annoying.
Well, and Austin's saying,
I just think that
Craig is
bringing
not
it to a
calling him
head
back
like this
anymore.
with him, where it's just like, you're not invited to filming anymore. It's just.
But the thing is that Austin's saying that Craig is not returning his calls anymore, and basically what I'm actually getting the sense of is that maybe Craig is only shows up when he has for filming, for that scene with the three of them at the top of the show. If he doesn't have to shoot a scene, he's not going to talk to you. And I think I kind of get the sense that is what they're butting up against, and or at least Austen is getting frustrated with. And that's the other thing and this is why it's so strange. If this were Shep coming to Craig's house and saying this stuff, I'd be like, well, Shep, you were totally vile to him. And same with Whitney. But Austen and Craig have their weird relationship, but they are podcasts. They do a podcast together. And, I don't know, there's something about Austen going over there and being like, I miss my friend, and Craig being just totally just dismissive of it, that I was like, that was shitty. I thought that was really shitty of Craig.
Look, I can see that side of it for sure, but here's where it gets me. He goes, yeah, but Craig, you want to hide out and not make the effort. And Craig says, yeah, but we record twice a week and we see each other at the gym. First of all, recording, I get that that's your job, but that's also not nothing. That's literally them sitting there shooting the shit with each other. And then when you see each other at the gym, that's not work either. That's where you sit and you chat with your friends. That's any friend I've gone to the gym with, that's been our quality time, where we go and we hang out and we talk to each other and we catch up. I've never gone to the gym with a friend where it's been a work formal situation. So if someone came to me and was like, wow, so you spend 2 to 3 hours a week talking to me, and then 5 days a week hanging out with me at the gym, and that's not enough, I'd be like, you're fucking needy and weird. What more do you need from me?
But as a counterpoint, if something's coming from Amazon. Sorry. I'm like a dog. I'm like squirrel. A counterpoint is, if we have a routine that we go to the gym and we do our podcasting, and I was like, hey, Ronnie, let's go grab dinner or whatever. And you just were like, no. It's I'm only allowed to see you in a work or gym setting, daytime maybe, or really on your terms. And like maybe that's what Austen didn't articulate. And I hate that I feel like I'm going out of my way to defend Austen here. I don't know what this is about. But I can imagine it's like, what if it's Austen saying, I want to do other things, and Craig is like, no, I'm only slotting you into this thing where I can do a business with you, and this thing because we have this routine, and that's it. That's all you get. And Austen's like, but we used to have a relationship that had different dynamics, and we used to go to each other's houses and just hang out. And, Craig is like, well, I got all this now, like my whole life is business now. That's fun for me. Making money, getting healthy, and fucking my girlfriend. That's what I want to do. And if you're a real friend, you'd be happy for someone like that, because I built a fucking huge pool and said you guys can come out whenever you want. That's my fun isn't at the bar anymore. And that's true. He did buy this, but now they have to go schlep over to wherever the hell Craig is, off in the suburbs. So like, I feel like I think maybe what I'm reacting to is that like all the points that you're making are points I've always felt and agreed with, but I feel like sometimes I get more passionate about like, but let's not overlook this aspect too. Let's just not let Craig off scot-free, because Craig is contributing to this too. And he's also like, he's trying to have it both ways. And I think he's actually kind of being a shitty friend too.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm sure Craig is just annoying the hell out of everybody. My main sticking point is this is like a main shooting event and you're trying to push him out. And that's just not like, I don't think he's done anything to warrant that, especially when Shep is there just being fucking vile to the point where the whole cast has to take a step back, and Shep is still invited to spit food all over your face all night. So I just think that was shitty, mostly on Patricia and Whitney's part, mostly.
Well, never forget, Craig is the one who tried not to invite Naomi to his birthday party, and then everyone pressured him, and he finally did and put her in that.
Well, that was his show that she was coming back onto after dating Whitney to get back on it, which was also another fucking sticking point, which I still think is totally gross of Whitney. It's like, okay, you can come back on the show if you're dating me. It's like, where is HR on this show? But Craig didn't owe Naomi anything. He broke up with Naomi a long time ago. That's a different thing. Naomi wasn't just a lead character that was still on the show being pushed out.
Yeah, but then if he's going to have some sort of proprietary element, like it's quote unquote his show, then he has to also like do the things on his show.
Well,
and not just be like,
okay,
and not just be like,
I think we just need to agree to disagree, because it's like more of the same thing over and over. But I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I do see the annoying side of Craig. I'm just never ever. There's nothing you can ever say that's going to ever make me feel empathy for Austen. I won't do it.
I know it's weird. I don't like being. I was watching the scene. I was like, I can't believe I'm feeling this way. I've never ever in years and years ever felt a shred of empathy for whatever argument Austen's ever making.
Yeah. Well,
so either way,
that's good. I'm glad you're feeling things. I feel nothing.
2025 is a great year.
Yeah. I feel nothing. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy forever.
Austen's like, I want to meet up with my buddy and like grab barbecue and talk about shit. Like watch the match, whatever match that may be. And he's like, I don't want to go to the bar and watch the game anymore. I want to watch it at my house or at his house. He's like, what? But he won't even set foot. He set my foot in my house like 3 times in my life. Like, what is that about?
It's gross. And so Craig's basically like, look, our friendship's never going to look like it used to. And I would never tell you how to live your life. And he's like, I'm not telling you like how to live your life. And he's like, well, then what do you want from me? And I know you're not making a face at me because I didn't come to your house and do this. And so Austen's like, I get it. He's changed, but when you're changing, you're supposed to keep your closest friends the closest or whatever. And so he's like, all right, well, you can either swim or leave. This is my life. And he leaves. And then Craig swims.
And now the future of this trio of men is in dispute. I mean, they'll be fine. They'll all still leave.
Oh, they're always, it's the same thing they do every year. One of them is always on the outs, and they have to make that one suffer for the whole season. And this year it's Craig's turn, I guess.
And next week they'll probably settle in together and say, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. No, I do treasure you, blah, blah, blah. And here we are spending all this energy taking sides on a stupid thing, and then they're going to be the ones who'll be like friends next episode.
Of course. Well, and also this leads to whatever happens next year, which is going to be single Craig. So that's a whole different thing, because that's Craig right back into the position of going out with his friends, meeting people, and kind of, is he going to slide back into that? Or is he going to What's he going to do?
I don't know. It'll be
Because I
interesting.
don't really believe that Craig is this reformed, like, guy either. You know, that whole scene where he was like, oh, welcome to my pool. It was another scene at his pool. All the scenes were at his pool, which I guess is your point and Austin's point. But he was doing that scene where someone came over and he was cleaning up soda cans or whatever, beer cans, or I guess it was his seltzer I read about later, from all over the backyard when apparently they had some party. And he's like, oh, I have a little cold. Want to get in the hot tub, my little cold. I was like, okay, so you were partying and doing coke all night. So he's not completely this reformed angel, you know. So
yeah, I just always think there's more to the story. I just feel like Craig gets off scot-free all the time, and I'm like,
don't they all though? Isn't this whole season Shep getting off scot-free? What has Shep had to do?
Yeah.
Shep immediately came back like, oh gosh, everybody, I'm totally different. It's just me, sweet Shep, dating a perfect beauty queen and never wanting anything else. Like totally behaving himself. And everyone's like, oh yeah, you know the real problem in this group? It's not the grab ass old lech who's like we can't take in public because he's humiliating the entire cast and network. It's Craig who has a job and a girlfriend now. Like, how do you do that? Like, he's magic. His manipulation is magical.
Well, it's like a totally toxic situation. And that's why it doesn't really matter what side you're on, because it's always going to swirl together. Like, both things swirl together and create the drama.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's, again, friendship breakups. They're the best. They're the best to look at and talk about.
Well,
and I guess the customary disclaimer, Ronnie and I are not mad at each other. We're fine.
But we're never hanging out outside of this podcast again.
Ronnie, do you want to hang out tonight?
No.
Oh,
I'll put on Shannon's bulldog hat.
well, how dare you? How dare you?
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here with us. It is good to be back. Go get your tickets for the Golden Crappies and also our shows in San Francisco and San Diego coming up at the end of the month over at watchwhatcrappens.com. Check out this video on Patreon. Join us next week for a 2-part Traitors cast breakdown over on Patreon, plus new recaps of Southern Hospitality and the 9 million other shows we are currently covering. We love you guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's always automatic with Ashley Auto.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Catherine DiBernardo has our hardo.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offutt. Dana C. Dana Do. She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Etchels.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey. You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
We could all learn from Jennifer Kearns.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
Knock, knock, knocking on Katie Mannock's door.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B.
Bringing the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets a name from us, it's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry.
We love her on the rocks, it's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg, you can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Living with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
Have a heck of a time with Rebecca.
She sure is swell. It's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman. The Bay Area Betches. Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
She's VVIP, it's Amanda V.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
She's got a leg up. It's Beth Ani.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva. Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender.
We're ride or die for Lisa Ryder Barron.
She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy.
Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
Put on a kettle for Rebecca Weddle.
She's the queen bee. It's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.
If you like Watch What Crappens, you can listen ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.